Hidden within Counter-Strike's plethora of ancillary game modes is one that's as special as it is bizarre. Away from the leaderboards of Surf, KZ, and Bunny Hop, unrelated to any retake, pre-fire, or warm-up server, I'm talking about Zombie Escape. It's an experience wholly different from that of Counter-Strike's traditional competitive gaming mode, but played enough, and you'll quickly realize it holds the exact same value that's at the core of the entire franchise: teamwork. And to some, CS just isn't CS without the undead.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime video game experience. You will never be in a lobby as big and uncontrolled as a zombie escape lobby in CS2, and I guarantee you'll have at least a little bit of fun.
Hey everybody, before we get into today's video, I wanted to thank our sponsor, JBL Quantum. The JBL Quantum 910 wireless headset is designed with competitive gaming in mind, and its Quantum Sphere 360 technology can help give you the edge in any game where sound matters. Whether you're trying to figure out where on earth the bomb is on Nuke or hear footsteps in Valorant, if you play TAC FPS, you need accurate spatial audio. And there's no other headset out there with JBL Quantum's Quantum Sphere 360 tech, which uses an algorithm to accurately render virtual surround sound alongside head tracking to ensure the positional audio is always precise. Visit jbl.com/gaming to find out more. And check out the special edition Cracked episode we did about the JBL Quantum 910 wireless headset and its revolutionary 360 Quantum Sphere tech over on JBL's YouTube channel using the link in the description. Alright, let's get back to the video.
Okay, so I'm sure I've explained this before, but as a kid, I didn't play Counter-Strike properly. While my brother was attempting to become a 1.6 legend, I was in FY Ice World or scanning servers for anything with a hook mod. So you'll forgive me for thinking Source is nothing but an improvement on the original, despite that still being a pretty nuclear take amongst most CS fans. But if I'm being honest, some of my fondest memories were from Surf, minigames, and other random community maps. It was long before I cared about ranks or how quick I was with the op. For me, Counter-Strike was a sandbox to explore hundreds, if not thousands, of user-generated content. To have fun. And amongst these creations was one specific game mode that I've never been able to get off my mind. You spawn in a desolate map with a few arbitrary buildings. Then you proceed to work with your team to burrow yourself inside of one of these structures by pushing chairs, shooting vending machines to block windows and doorways. Then, one of you turns into a zombie with a knife, 10,000 HP, and infinite respawns. Their goal is to make it through the fortifications and knife as many humans as possible to infect them until none remain. As a human, your goal is to survive and run out the timer. And to me, it's the origin of Counter-Strike Zombies, the beginning of a long and weird history.
Zombie Escape has a weird history. It actually started in Counter-Strike Source. You would have thought it was CS 1.6, but it starts in CS Source in around 2005 as this sort of meme game mode. Some people are zombies, you run around the map and you shoot them. There's little to no structure, there's no rules, you have limited ammo, which would eventually change, and the general strategy was to get a group of friends, hide in a corner, and hope that you survive. That was a really addictive, repetitive, and for a lot of people, a very nostalgic way to play the game.
For the uninformed, that was Repster, the certified goat of community game modes, and I sat down with him once again to pick his brain about the undead shooter within attack shooter. He continued to explain that Zombies eventually did make its way to 1.6, and it was through this port that a plethora of game modes were created. See, alongside the zombie mod in Source that I was reminiscing about came another, called Horde, which had humans face against NPC bots of zombies that may have actually preceded this survival one. But 1.6 and its Asian counterpart Counter-Strike Online, more on that later, spawned countless others. Some would make it to other titles, but unfortunately, a lot of them have turned into overly modded hellholes that aren't exactly worth talking about right now. Except for one, a mod that has stood the test of time and has since become the default experience: Zombie Escape. Instead of hiding and trying to stay alive for as long as possible, it was now like an obstacle course with traps to be avoided, doors that needed to be opened, a giant puzzle for both teams to solve, a point A to B racetrack that would only get more complex as the community grew.
It evolves into this crazy, like, I don't know if you've seen it, bullet hell type game mode where lasers will fall from the sky and there's bosses that you have to shoot and kill with like 64 other people. The game stops being about zombies and eventually becomes a game about teamwork, solving puzzles, and what we call the leader system.
The leader system is at the core of Zombie Escape, and like the most hardcore military sims out there, everything falls apart without it. See, the goal isn't to kill the zombies. In fact, even if you do chunk down their health, they just come back. Your PP Bison is only used to hold the horde at bay thanks to CS's tagging system, as the leader provides the marching orders. You will likely be given a role to play in these servers, whether that be part of the human wall shooting zombies or one of the select few entrusted with solving puzzles and opening doors. And if the leadership isn't followed, you will not make it to extraction.
Fall back now. Fall back now. Fall back. We gotta go. If you're in the back, turn around and throw a grenade behind you right now.
That's not to say this is some self-serious community. Above all, these servers are filled with people looking to have fun on these crazy labyrinth maps, but part of the fun is winning this crazy tug of war. As a result, Zombie Escape became an intricate team-based experience with metas, strats, and thanks to the community, a steady drip feed of new, custom content, both horrific and sometimes not safe for work.
The maps that you will see in Zombie Escape will very much so confuse you. Maps that seem like they're designed intentionally to be impossible, things that will kill you that you cannot expect, bosses that are definitely not safe for work and also like questionably in the game at all. Like, I don't want to say it, but there's a boss that's literally just a giant penis, which is, I don't know what you think about that. It's all to the imagination of map creators and how much work they're willing to put in, and they have already created some of the most incredible and bizarre stuff you'll ever see.
As you can tell, this isn't sanctioned, supported, or even acknowledged by Valve. The zombie community has been grassroots since the beginning and remains that way in CS2. Which answers the next question. Yes, Zombie Escape is still alive and doing pretty well in CS2. Well, as alive as it could be. If you check out cs2browser.com, the only good way to actually find community game modes, there are a few lobbies depending on where you are in the world, all with deep communities that you can become a part of. In North America, most days there is just this one GFL server on the browser. Now, if you live in China, things are a bit different because China f***ing loves Counter-Strike Zombies.
This system and way to play the game has especially gotten big in China. Chinese players play primarily on CSGO and CS2, and the game mode has at peak like 1,500 players at peak Chinese times. There's I think I want to say 15 to 20 full 64 player servers in China on any given day, both in CS2 and CSGO.
But why? Where did this obsession come from? Well, that is a tough question to answer, but my guess is that it all starts with a weird game called Counter-Strike Online. It's had several names over the years, but the long and short of it is that Counter-Strike Online is Counter-Strike created for the Asian market in 2008 by Nexon under Valve supervision. On top of China and other Asian countries having content laws, their audience want different things out of their shooters that Western gamers just don't, which is why at the time the game had female characters, outfits, and a ton of microtransactions. But on top of all that, Counter-Strike Online also had dedicated zombie game modes that could be accessed straight from the launcher. And when Perfect World, hosts of the recent Shanghai Major, worked to release CSGO in China back in 2017, it too had these same game modes baked in. So these game modes have been a part of CS for this region's entire time with the series. They don't know a Counter-Strike without zombies. As to why they love zombies in the first place, no f***ing clue. But if you're in the comments and somehow do know, please let me know because it's very interesting. Now, back to the zombie servers themselves. Despite being few and mighty, keeping the scene alive is no small task. As you can imagine, since it exists in CS2, the modders and server hosts go through the same issues as everyone else. Every new update breaks something, they get no resources from Valve, and sometimes it's like one step forward, two steps back. Nothing these people aren't used to, but the reality is that until CS2 is stable, even popular modes like Surf are going to go through rough patches at times. That being said, Sandbox, the spiritual successor to Gary's mod, is seeing progress. Eventually, it could become the home for community content made in Source 2 like we saw back in the day with Trouble in Terrorist Town and Prop Hunt for Gmod. It would be nice to one day wake up to an update that starts showing off and highlighting community content on the CS2 landing page. These communities will only grow the more eyes that see it, and Valve actually promoting them would do wonders, as well as acknowledging the hard work put into them. At the same time, this could also castrate the content itself. A lot of this relies on assets pulled from other games, some inappropriate stuff, as well as mods that let you bypass skin ownership. So maybe it's the best that we remain unregulated for the time being. However, that does mean uncertainty for the future of these communities, but people like Repster are hopeful that we just have to remain patient. So now the question becomes, Why should you try it? I mean, this is a cobbled together zombie mode within a separate game. Why play it when there are dozens of other dedicated zombie games, including one made by the exact same company and arguably the best of all time? Well, my pitch is this. Not only does this community mod predate every other one of these actual zombie games, but it quite literally is an experience you can't get anywhere else. But hey, don't take my word for it.
Having 64 people in the lobby creates some of the most ridiculous moments you will ever have. When there's like 10 different people shouting about the same thing at the same time, or if you finally get that victory, it is a completely different experience from like Call of Duty. You get into the lobby, you learn the map, you all struggle and fail, and if you can pull it together and cooperate, you can get to the end and win.
Me and Repster were wondering, he brought it up to me, if maybe Valve like saw what the community zombie mod was doing, and that's how they originally got the idea to do Left 4 Dead. It would be interesting, because there are a lot of similarities, and obviously it's the same engine, right? So it wouldn't be the first time a mod inspired a whole new game.